Hello. What's up, everybody? It's Pikel with Legal Items, and we had a 4-game slate last night. I had a bunch of Invictus Gaming lineups. I did not have that many Hanwha Life lineups. I was big on Damwon, and that's just how I've been playing these slates recently, is kind of trying to go all in on one or two outcomes. Last night is a kind of night where we had a lot of people agreeing on what the good plays were in the Discord channel. So I wanted to just kind of shout out everybody that's constantly contributing to the conversation, and it helps. It just helps. Other people give their feedback. Sometimes they disagree with me. Sometimes I disagree with them. We kind of try to explain why. But yeah, yesterday was a pretty good day in general for most of the active people in Patreon. I don't know if anybody else did well or did poorly. Only the people that talk. So, basically, Pride of Cucamonga said, Shun as captain is my favorite play. Invictus Gaming, Hanwha Life stack. I said that my favorite play was Hanwha Life in the team slot, regardless of the other stack. Should be a 2-0. The Damwon Gaming match seems like it was just a fluke, meaning for Fredit Brion. Seems most likely like a 2-0. My problem is that a lot of the lineups I made yesterday were 4-2-1s with Invictus Gaming, Damwon Gaming, and Hanwha Life as the team. If I did Invictus Gaming, Hanwha Life as the players, and Damwon Gaming as the team, I would have probably gotten solo first place, depending on the combination of players. I could have, probably would have. I could have. And I had a lot of depth last night. I did think that was a good spot overall. But anyways, didn't go my way yesterday. That's fine. So let's talk about what's going to happen on tonight's slate. So we have a 4-game slate: DRX KT, LGD BLG, T1 versus Live Sandbox, and OMG against Suning. So T1, I will consider T1. I'm not playing Sandbox. And somebody asked about this in chat today, saying, hey, are you afraid of playing T1 not knowing what their roster is going to be? And I would say yes. That was from Goading. So let me just respond to that real quick. So let's just take a look at that real quick. So Kana will most likely play. Elam will most likely play. Closer and Faker have both played. Gumayusi and Teddy have both played. And then there's Keria. So if you'd like T1 to go 2-0 tonight, you could always do Keria and T1 without having to worry about a sub risk. If you wanted to incorporate another, you could do probably a 4-2-1 with T1 team slot, or a 4-2-1 with Keria as a one-off. That could be interesting, theoretically. So that's that. Let's just start with so I said T1 over Live Sandbox, not worth talking about. Could LSB theoretically win? Yes, probably, but I'm not playing that side. just because something can happen 10% of the time or 20% of the time doesn't mean I'm going to play it on DraftKings. And then LGD against BLG. This is literally what I said, so I'm long on BLG, so I will be picking them in almost every spot until I have a reason not to. And we've had some disagreement in Discord about BLG because of my talent evaluation of certain players relative to how they've played so far, or how the coaching has been. And for that, I'll say, last season, Vici Gaming wanted to highlight Zika as a player, and Koma was the coach. Koma is one of the best League of Legends coaches of all time in terms of results, which is not the most important thing in the world, but you can't just discount it or discredit it completely. So what else do we know about Vici Gaming? Vici Gaming was built around iBoy, and Koma saw something about Zika that made him want to play around Zika. Now, this doesn't mean that Koma came to this conclusion just from stage games. It means that he is with the players every single day, watch them in their scrims, watch their solo queue progress, all that kind of stuff. And he is the one who put his faith in Zika by having him start at the end of the season. And he played very well. So, like Rare Atom right now, if they had Zika, I would love Rare Atom. I would think that they're so much better. Billy Gaming, I think, hasn't looked great so far. And a lot of it comes down to their drafts. So right now I'm at the point where I think that the talent on Billy Gaming is very good. Bubu and Shilon, I don't know much about them. Meteor's a good player. Zika's a good player. Aiming's a good player. Mark is an okay player. Mark is good enough to be the support on a team at a world championship. Is he a difference maker to make them a world champion? Maybe not. But I could see Meteor playing in a world championship, Zika, Aiming, and Mark. I could see all those players being on a world's team. Bubu, I don't know. Shilon, or I'm not sure how you pronounce that. I don't know about that portion of it. And there were times in this match where Bubu looked like they played poorly. And even in that situation, I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt because the coaching and the drafting has been bad. So in chat, in the Discord chat, somebody said, in chat, somebody said, like Zika hasn't looked like they've been proactive. They're not, they're just not playing well. And it's really difficult to blame a player for not being proactive in a loss, because a lot of the time that isn't going to have anything to do with how they played. It could have more to do with how their team played or how the team drafted. The thing I'm thinking of specifically is in the draft when they blind picked Twisted Fate and they allowed Zoe to get picked against it and Pantheon to get picked against it. This doesn't mean that they have to lose the game. Like, you can outplay this situation, but you're immediately putting your team in a spot where if they land one Zoe bubble with Pantheon anywhere close, then you're going to get dove and you're probably going to die because TF isn't a very tanky champion. Yes, you could gold card them at the perfect time, but ultimately you're put in a bad spot. You're not going to be able to wave clear fast enough in the early game to avoid ganks. You do wave clear okay, but like if you get shoved in, you're going to be in a bad spot as Twisted Fate. And then with the Pantheon matchup against, I think it was Graves, Pantheon is going to contribute more to like starting a fight in the mid lane than Graves is going to, for the most part. The other thing is, if you get to the point where Twisted Fate is winning the matchup and is continuously pushing up his lane, then you could have Pantheon just ult behind him, and that's a problem as well. So I didn't like the Twisted Fate pick personally. I'm not a huge Twisted Fate fan. It kind of forces your team to play a specific way, and it immediately puts a target on the Twisted Fate, because if you can shut down Twisted Fate and get them behind in lane, then it's going to be more important for them to farm their lane than it is to contribute in like ganks and stuff on the side lanes. So, like I said, can you outplay the situation? Yes. As a coach, should you be putting your players into situations where they need to outplay the enemy team? No, I don't think so. I think that you want to do everything you can to produce at least 50-50 matchups when you have the chance. So I think that is a coaching error, which brings us to the next point. If we can't trust the coaching and the drafting, then should we be playing Billy Gaming? And that's a fair criticism. I mean, I'm not going to stop playing them. If you want to stop playing them because you can't trust them, I think it's completely reasonable. Go ahead. Do what you got to do. I can only provide you with my opinion on things, and ultimately you're the one who has to click enter on the contest. I get that. I'm not trying to say that everyone should always listen to me or else. That's not what I'm saying. I just can't get off BLG at this point. If they lose to LGD tonight, maybe it's a... If they lose to LGD tonight and Zika plays like garbage, then maybe I'll be afraid. But I don't see that happening. I'll be on BLG probably tonight. So if you go lane by lane, BuBu is at least even with Colton Garvey. Meteor is better than whoever LGD has. Zika is better than Uniboy. Aiming's much better than Kramer. It's not even close. And Mark is better than Chance. Or Peace. I don't really care. But basically, BLG, they're the highest priced team on the slate. They might end up being chalky even, but there's probably a way to make some of these favorites line up together that you'll like. Let's go to DRX and KT. So KT was opened as the favorite, I think. I'll do a lane by lane analysis here, but I'm not going to break down what I did in Discord. I think that it's easy to convince yourself of either side. There are competing narratives. I broke down the competing narratives in my post in Discord, kind of. Doran against Kingen. I think that Doran is obviously the much more highly regarded player because of results. Blank and Piosik. Piosik is the better jungler in my opinion. At one point, Blank looked like an up-and-coming star when they were on T1, but for whatever reason, it just didn't work out. Yukal against Solka. Again, we have a newer player against someone who was a highly regarded young player at one point. We have Hybrid and Bao. I was never a fan of Hybrid, still not a fan of Hybrid. Zeus, Becca, Bao, Becca, and Hybrid, Zeus. Or Zus. Maybe they want to say Zus. I don't know. But either way, I think that it comes down to how are you going to analyze DRX's performance against KT. KT has had a tougher schedule. So for that, I can't really get into much more detail without giving away what I was talking about in Discord, which I want to keep that for Discord for the supporters. And then lastly, obviously, OMG against Suning. Bin, I'm not sure who's starting for. Let's see. Ali is not even listed on there. Bin is better. S of M against Aki. S of M is the better player for real life winning chances. S of M has not played well so far this year, but that's fine. Angel against Wooming. Wooming is interesting, and I'm never the biggest Angel supporter, but Angel obviously is good enough to make World Finals and be a contributor, so that's pretty important. Huan Feng and An against Eric and Cold. Obviously, Suning has the advantage there. So it's very easy to get to this point tonight where you have these three teams locked in for your player pool, and then you have to make a decision about DRX and KT. So you click both until you make that decision, and then you go through the different salaries and try to figure out who you want to throw into your lineup. That's basically all I have for you today. I'm working on some stuff for statistics and sheets and potentially a website, but it's in very early stages now. But thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.